Well, that was a little interesting. You guys missed it. Maybe it's out there somewhere. I don't know. And while I'm thinking about it, let me go make sure it's not out there and confusing people. So I've been messing around with some of my technology to do live streams and other fun things. And one of the things that I did was an impromptu live stream. I was trying to test going to Instagram and YouTube at the same time. And I did an impromptu live stream earlier in the week and I hit go live, but it didn't give me the pop up to choose my scheduled event. And I just wasn't even paying any attention. It just took me what I thought was live. So here I sat talking to you and it went nowhere. So I had to log out and log back in of Streamlabs, refresh everything. And now here we are. So hello, hello friends, hello friends, hello friends. Thank you for sticking with me, even though we're starting just a couple minutes late. I appreciate that. Before we get into tonight's live stream, I do want to give everybody an update. Excuse me. We just had dinner. It was delicious. I'm still processing it. Our friend Donna from Handmade by Ying with Donna, she's the host of my after party every Friday night, or her own party. I realize that somebody's probably going to take me saying that as being derogative towards Donna, and that's not what I meant. But we do call her live stream the after party because it happens after mine and it's a party. And sometimes the after party is better than the main event. So there you go. Anywho, long story short, Donna did have a special live stream scheduled tonight. We were going to be live for just about an hour or so that we could wrap up and everybody could be over there at the start of her live stream. She was going to have Karen Brown from Just Get It Done Quilts on her channel tonight, but that is not going to happen. There will not be any content coming from her for a little while. She is in the hospital recovering from a stroke last week. This is public information that her family has put out there. She is doing great. She is recovering. Well wishes, prayers, thoughts, all of those things are still requested, so please keep them coming. And in your downtime, if you've got some content of hers that you want to catch up on, or maybe if you could just play her channel in the background, that would be very helpful to keep their channel in the algorithm as she's continuing to recover. In a couple of weeks, she'll be back at them and posting content, but she just needs a little bit of downtime to help work through what her life looks like right now. So we're going to leave it at that. I don't want to talk any more about her stuff. I just want to preface our live stream with all of that information. So if you want more information, you can check out Donna's socials. That's where everything will be shared. All right. Carol Warren is a supporter of the channel, and she says, hello, brand new to the chat and love what you do. Thank you so much. Doreen Bolt is here and puts a heart in the chat. Hello, Crafty Panda. My friend Mary is here. Let's see, who else do we have in the chat? Kathy has faith. Susie Hewlett. I'm reading all the green names out first. Becky Spencer. Ruth Roberts is here. She said we had frost last night in upstate New York. You keep that. Thank you. Hello, Jackie. Jackie DBD. Stitch Art is here as well. I see Terry Bishop. I think Jean, hello, and I think I've got most of, Gigi Quilts is here, hello, Mike Seppa is here, he says, hi, friends, big Friday love from New York City. All right, I think I've gotten all of the green ones, so thank you, friends, for supporting my channel. There is a question already in the chat from Glory B. Where is Ian moving? Outside of Texas. That's all I can tell you. He will reveal it on or after June 1st. I have no further information to give. Sorry. Mary says, hi, Becca. Were you going to do a live shows for Cotton Cuts Tree of Life? You know, Mary, I wasn't going to, but I think I will probably start doing that again. Just because my intention for the Puzzle Mystery Quilt, and this is a great thing that we can talk about. The Puzzle Mystery Quilt for Carnival was revealed today. I am a little behind on Carnival, so I am going to participate. Oh, no, I'm not. No, because I won't be here. I might pop in for a little bit. But over the weekend, I'm going to try and get my clues finished up so that I can have that quilt done. Tree of Life is the now only active puzzle mystery quilt that is going on, and my intention for that was not to do live streams because it seemed like it was content that people really didn't want from me, which I want to produce content that you want to watch. So it's not that they didn't want it. I don't think they wanted it as a live stream. So I took a pivot and I tried to make it as other content, and that content didn't perform well. It actually performed even worse. So I will probably just continue doing those clues in live streams, but I need to get a little caught up because I am just a little bit behind, and that might be something we do on a live stream. I'm thinking maybe next week I can work on past puzzle mystery quilt clues and just get those done. At the end of the day, I want to make sure that I'm making content that you want to watch. So if there's something that you want to see me do, let me know. You could do it in the comments of any of my videos. You can shoot me an email. You can send me a message on Facebook or Instagram, whatever works for you. But if there's something you'd like to see me do, let me know. I can add it to my list. And if enough of you ask me for it, I'm going to prioritize that over other things, because at the end of the day, I want to make content that I want to make, but I also want it to be something that you want to watch. And if I'm making stuff that you don't want to watch, or you want stuff that I don't want to make, then we're not really going to get anywhere. The magic sauce is I want to make stuff that I want to make that you want to watch. So there you go. All right. Let's see. What else do we have in the chat? Looks like somebody else just joined Kim Miller just joined the channel supporter. So thank you, Kim, for financially supporting my channel. I appreciate that. Mona did what? Just popped into the chat. KD Craft says we had a little rain and a lot of thunder and lightning here in Denver. Could have used the reverse. Keep all that, please. Trina Taco says puzzle mystery quilts are too expensive for me. I do a lot of charity quilts, so I would rather not do a puzzle mystery quilt. Got it. Deb's Quad Paw Quilt says we can always head down the Heidi hole if... Okay, got it. Bill Imhoff is asking, when is Sew Sunday, April? Have we already had it? Great question, Bill. We have not. It is this Sunday. So this Sunday from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., we have our Zoom sew-in for any channel supporters. So if you are here in the live chat between 8 p.m. and about 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, April 26, 2024, and your name is showing up as green and you have a little heart next to your name or a little flower next to your name, then that means you are a channel supporter. You will be invited to that Zoom event, and the link for that will be on the community tab of my YouTube channel. There you go. And if you are a member of my VIP program, my VIP membership that's on my website, you should have the Zoom link already in an email that I sent out at the beginning of this month. The Zoom link will be dropped in the VIP Facebook group. And we'll try to send out another email with the Zoom link sometime tomorrow so that you have that at the top of your inbox as well. All of you are welcome. If you are supporting me financially, either through the channel supporter finances on YouTube or my membership program, you are invited to sew with me for a few hours Sunday afternoon. We're just going to be focusing on whatever projects we decide to bring. Katie, the Greenland Quilter, has joined the channel supporters. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. Jackie says, I am way behind on cotton cuts, working on number 6 for Carnival, and I haven't even started Tree of Life. Listen, we are in the same boat, my friend. So let's both take care of that. Jan says, the puzzle mystery stuff you've done in the past before I got Tree of Life was very informative. Okay, well, thank you for that, Jan. Trina says, so what you whipping up on this lovely evening, Becca? Well, when I hit the go live button before, I explained all that, and then I realized I wasn't talking to anybody. I have about 83,000 quilts that need binding. That might be a slight exaggeration, but maybe not by much. Seriously, I have a stack of quilts over here that need binding, and I have a bunch of binding that has been prepared. And so my goal tonight is just to sit and talk with you and put some binding on these quilts so that they can actually be done. So that's really all I'm working on. I think next week and maybe the week after, I'm going to use those Fridays as just cotton cuts catch up. Maybe we'll see. Maybe just one of them will be. If you are working on, by the way, cotton cuts Carnival. Yes, I always get the names mixed up. But if you're working on the one that was just revealed today, there is an all-day sew-in on Zoom hosted by Cotton Cuts tomorrow. So if you are doing the cotton cut stuff, You could have a Zoom sew-in on Saturday, and then if you're a part of my VIP or channel supporter, you could have a Zoom sew-in on Sunday. Shelby says, hello all, just dropping in to say happy Friday and run away to a family dinner. I will catch you all on the replay. Okay, I need to step away for just a minute. I'm sorry. My side is hurting a little bit, and I just want to take a couple Tylenol before we get too far into this. I thought I was going to be okay without it. And now I'm realizing my Tylenol is upstairs. I'll be all right. It's not that bad. Maybe halfway through I'll get some water. I think there's some in the kitchen. You know what? Actually, I'll be right back. I'm getting some aspirin. There we go. Thank you for waiting patiently. I appreciate it. Okay. See what else is going on in the chat. Karen Bray says, that's my favorite thing to do. I love binding, which means quilts are almost done. Kay's Purple Wall says, I really want to go to the sew-in, but it's not in the cards for me, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not for me either. I hear ya. My straw is stuck down below the lid. It's not the straw that's supposed to be with this cup, so it doesn't sit really well. All right, let me just take these really quick and then we're going to get to it. It's not bad right now, but I think it's time to get a new chair, because when I sit in this one, I can get some side or lower back pain. And if I sit somewhere else, it goes away. Plus, it's also doing the hydraulics thing. It's not doing the one where it sinks, because it was doing that and I replaced it. But now it's doing the one where every time I stand up, it just rises up. The chair is still good, but I think, let me get rid of this, actually. All of that back pain started when I started sitting on this cushion. Oh, that's better. I wonder, yeah, that's better. I think I might have been doing it to myself. All right. Binding. Let's do some binding. Ugh, I don't want to do any of the binding. We're going to do this one first, because this is one that my mom pieced. Tiffany, I think Ian, and I all quilted, and it needs to go to my sister Alicia. And I would love for my mom to put a special handwritten label on the back of it while she's here. So I want to get the binding on this one done. I bought a whole bolt of this striped kind of like neutral fabric to be binding. Literally a 10-yard bolt of fabric just to be binding. And so I cut off a bunch of yardage and just made that, because I love a stripe as a binding. And that's a neutral that'll go with just about everything. Because sometimes if I'm just whipping up quilts, I don't always think about what I want for the binding. So having this available is good. Because this is a quilt that I know is just going to be loved, I am going to attach it to the back and then pull it around to the front and stitch it down. If this was maybe a show quilt or something that was just going to be on display, then maybe I would consider attaching it to the front and then pulling it around to the back and either glue basting it down or doing something else, like hand binding it or whatever. But this is a quilt for my sister that I know is just going to be very well loved. Her and her puppies will love it. So I'm just going to work on this. Carolyn Wilson says, I will enjoy watching you. Thank you. I don't know what I hope you're talking about me. Doreen is asking, what kind of chair do you have? I have I always get it confused. I always want to say horn, and then I'm like, wait, is it horn? And then I have to remember what the other one is. I'm like, nope, yep, it is a horn. I have a horn 6-way adjustable chair that I have linked on my Facebook page. I bought it from a local quilt shop, but you can also get them from sewing. Sorry, I have it linked on my website. You can also get them from Sewing Machines Plus online, and I do have an affiliate link there that you could use to buy the same chair. Now, I get that question a lot. What are you using? Where can I get this? What do you have? Da 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 da. So I a long while ago, created a page on my website. It's if you go up to the top of my website, there's a menu option that says About, and when you click on it, there's another one that says What do I use? If you click on that, all of the answers to all of those questions about what I use are listed right there. Everything from the sewing machine that I'm sewing on to the cameras that I'm doing my videos for. And if you can buy it online, and I have an affiliate link for you, I've given you that too, so you can just click on it and buy one for yourself. I don't know if you guys know that I've done that. I get questions all the time. What sewing machine do you use? What sewing machine cabinet is it in? What chair are you sitting on? What is the iron that you're using? All of the, what sewing, all of the things. So rather than answering that all the time, which I still do, if somebody asks me, I still answer. But maybe if you know that that's there and you have further questions, you can go check out that list of stuff as well. Thank you, Donnell. Donnell said that the quilt is gorgeous. This is one that my mom pieced. What is the pattern on your backing? It's just flowers. It was just a big floral print. I have no idea where my glasses are either. I think they're upstairs because I took a shower this evening and I think I may have left them upstairs. Oh, boy, that feels so much better without that mat. I might pay that forward. Hello, Barbara. So if you have a separate thread holder, drop your binding coil over spindle. Binding wrap will unwrap smoothly. I actually have it on this. And it's unwrapping over here. I keep them wrapped around the spindles because it keeps them nice and tidy. I have a whole bin. If you haven't seen my binding video, go back and take a look at it. But in that binding video, what I show you is I have a bin full of bindings. Misfit bindings, scrap bindings, planned bindings, and I keep them organized by wrapping them around those acrylic binding holders from Stitch Supply Company. Pam says, with binding, I always love a dark binding like black or dark blue because I think it frames my quilt to look like a picture. You know what I really love? I love a stripe binding, but I also love white as a binding for especially a very colorful quilt. I feel like it looks like a mat around a portrait. Same concept, it sounds like. Tonight, we're going to do a couple of giveaways for some mystery charm packs. I don't know who will get what charm pack, and I'm not going to stress about that. If you win one of the raffles, we will send a mystery charm pack out to you this week. And those raffles are to celebrate the channel hitting 30,000 subscribers this week. So you do have to be here to enter. You do have to be here to win. And when I say here, I mean you have to be watching this live. Like, it doesn't work for the replay. So if you're not watching between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time, sadly, on Friday, April 26, 2024, sadly, your opportunity to win those raffles has passed. However, I may have another giveaway in the near future to celebrate 30,000. I just haven't set it up yet, and it's going to take me a little while to get there. So if you miss out on the live stream one, don't fret. There might be another opportunity. Hello, Patty. Welcome to the live stream. Mary, can you go ahead and kick off a raffle for 15 minutes, please? See her, she's in the chat, so she'll get that going for us. Remember, you have to be here to enter. You have to be here to win. And once the raffle's up and running, you'll be able to get your ticket. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Raffle's not open yet. Just wait. Hello, Joe Robinson from Central Virginia. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you, guys. Raffle's not open yet, guys. Hold off on putting that in. You're not getting tickets. Wait till you see Streamlabs in the chat say that it's open. It's not open yet. No, stop typing raffle. It's not open yet. All right, let me get this folded over. There we go. Now it's open. Exclamation raffle. There you go. Anybody that typed it before 8:28 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, April 26th, go ahead and type that in again to get your ticket. There's a whole bunch of you trying to get a ticket before the bot was ready for you. There you go. Have you ever faced a quilt? Patty Sears is asking. I have not, but I know how it's done, and I have plans to do it for an upcoming quilt. I had a dream last night that's like been stuck in my head all day. I had a dream I had to go out to Vegas for something. I don't remember what it was. I feel like I was there for work. And usually when I have to go to Vegas for work, I'll tack on an extra day so I can go to So Yeah and Quilting and visit with my friend Tiffany. And it's been that I've actually spent some time with Lori Fayer out there too. And, just kind of like have a day to do the things on that side of the country that I don't normally get to do since I've already booked the plane ticket out there. Of course, I have to cover the hotel for those extra nights, which is completely fine. And I have to make sure that I fly back on a date or time that does not add any extra cost to my employer, which is totally fine. Totally fine. And I would pay the difference if needed. So I had this dream that I had to go out to Vegas. And it was on the Vegas day. That's what I usually call it, where I'm done working or done with the conference. And now I get to do whatever I want. And I ended up at the So Yeah store. And in this dream, I was looking around at all the different boutiques. I remember I was looking at the boutiques. And I was by myself. There wasn't anybody there with me. I wasn't talking to anybody. I was just walking up and down the aisles looking at the boutiques. And there was this isn't how the store is set up, but there was an area where you had to take like 3 steps up to a platform area to look at something. And so I stopped and I was like kneeling on the steps. So if you don't know this about me, I like to kneel over chairs or ottomans. I like to, you know what I'm talking about, where you get down on your knees and then you just lean over the item. It helps with like lower back pain and stuff. And I find it's just really comfortable. Sometimes it can be hard getting back up, but getting better. Anyway, for some reason, I was in that position, like almost like you're kneeling at the altar type of position. I was like in that position on the steps. And then Tiankum walked up. He was like, "Hey, Becca." And I was like, well, actually, he said, "Hey, so Becca," because every time I've talked to Tiankum, he always calls me so Becca. And I've tried to be like, "My name's Becca." And he's like, "Okay, so Becca." Anyway, he walked up and I was like, "Oh, hey, Tianka." And then we just started talking. And then I walked out of the store with a ridiculous amount of boutiques. That was my dream. That was it. That's it. I went to Vegas. I shopped at So Yeah, and I bought a lot of boutique fabric. And I talked to Tianka. Funny. Hello, Ada Brown. Vegas because you and Tiffany were talking about a retreat in Vegas. Oh, that was a long time ago. Yeah, I would love to do a retreat anywhere, honestly, but it's just one of those things that it's got to be the right thing at the right time for the right price. One day, maybe. It sounds like a good dream. Becca, do you know what matchstick a quilting is or how it's done? I saw a pillow done of a swan and they said it was matchstick done. Thank you. I love the show, from Pamela Rabin. Yeah, so matchstick quilting is essentially just quilting straight lines on your piece and trying to keep those lines about a 1/4 inch away from one another. I've done it on my long arm. I did take advice from Angela Walters, who I consider to be the free motion quilting goddess. And she's said that you don't, and I've heard others say this. Karen Brown has said it. She heard it in a lecture as well. You don't need your lines to be perfectly straight. You're just going for straight-ish. And if you allow the lines to not be perfectly evenly spaced and there's a bit of variation to it, you add some movement to the quilt where otherwise it could have come up a little bit flat and a little less visually interesting. So I definitely borrowed that advice for my quilt because it was not perfectly straight and they were not perfectly spaced out. It was obvious a human had done it. Hope that answered your question. Ooh, Jacqueline Ann said she's signing up for a quilting cruise next March. Awesome. Love boutiques, and I want to go to Vegas so bad so I can go to So Yeah. Patty Sears says, the store is gorgeous, and it's huge. It's wonderful. Their other store was amazing. Listen, okay, so when I first started following So Yeah, you know how you get impressions based off of like what you see? I saw these brothers, these guys on YouTube, always against the same backdrop, but I never saw the inside of the store until I went out there. And I thought, "Oh, okay, they have a quilt shop. Oh, okay, they have a quilt shop. Fine. All right." And then I went out there and saw their shop. My jaw hit the floor because it was huge and it was gorgeous. And that was their old shop. The new one's bigger and even nicer. So, yeah, it's if you are in Vegas and you are a quilter, you have to stop in there. Plus good prices. So there's that. The other one that's in Vegas that I really like is Quiltique. But I do think with the new location that So Yeah has, I think they probably have a bigger selection. It feels that way. But I'm also going in a year. It's been a year since I've been out there, so yeah. I'm going to the So Yeah retreat in October. Awesome, Zarina. I hope you have a wonderful time. That's on my bucket list to do one day. One day, one day, one day. Oh. that variable isn't working for the command. I'll have to take a look at that later. It's supposed to tell you how many minutes are left in the raffle, and instead it's saying only object promised. So just ignore that, guys. Tuck it in, tuck it in. Yeah, I sing it. What? What? I'm tucking in my binding. I'm not doing the thing where the binding is perfectly joined. I'm doing the thing where you tuck the binding into one end. And that is covered in my binding video if you're curious what I'm talking about. So there is a comment in the chat from Tyler Bussard that says, do you ever go to the Quilter Studio in Fairfax? I visited there for the first time a few weeks ago and I really enjoyed it. Yes, that's my quilt shop. Kathy is amazing. She is the owner of the quilt shop and she is the lady that taught me how to actually properly quilt. Highly recommend. They have a good selection. I think they're one of, like, it's funny. There's another quilt shop in Manassas called Susie's Quilt Shop, and they have a lot of boutiques. But I feel like every time I walk into that store, they have less and less and less to pick from. But I really do enjoy that store. I just, now it's basically all they have is boutiques. But the selection is smaller than what you get at the Quilter Studio. Yeah. And then there's another quilt shop that I really like near me called Berger's. That's also in Manassas. Actually, Susie's, I don't know if that is Manassas. But anyway, Berger's is Manassas. Not terribly a fan of the fabric that they carry. There's not been anything that's really jumped out at me. But what I do love about Berger's is Raymond Berger, who is like a sewing machine whisperer. So if you have a sewing machine and you're in the area, doesn't matter what it is, if you need to have it serviced, he's your guy. He is your guy. And they do have some fabric there, and they have clubs and classes and things too. What does that mean, properly quilt? Okay. Let's talk about that. It's not a quilt police thing. When I first started sewing, I was trying to make things that were functional and practical. Practical is what I was looking for. So I would want to make bags because I liked carrying a purse. And I thought, well, I don't need to spend money on a Coach bag. I can learn how to make my own purse. And so I was tinkering around with that and did a lot of trying to make a lot of bags. Some of them were decent. None of them were Sarah Lawson from Sew Sweetness level. But I did find her patterns and tutorials to be particularly helpful. So I did a lot of that stuff, and then I tried to make apparel a couple of times. I did not love it. I didn't like how big the pieces were. And I really didn't like that if I was off just a little bit, it changed the whole fit and sometimes made the entire garment that I had worked so hard on completely unusable. So one day, my mom had come up to visit and she decided for Christmas she wanted to give each of her grands, who were all under 13 at the time, I believe, a blanket. And so we bought online from a D-Stash site, we bought some Disney panels. And we backed it with a yard of fabric and put some batting in between them. But when I put them together, I didn't make a quilt sandwich because I didn't even know what that was at the time. I put them right sides together and did the pillow turn thing, and then just stitched around the outside because that's what I knew to do for making pillowcases and bags. And then Mom was like, well, you got to quilt it. She's like, you could even trace around some of those images with your quilting, like the Disney princesses. You could outline them. I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. So with my feed dogs up, I went to the machine and started stitching, tracing around the design elements on the panel. It was much more difficult than it needed to be, but it did get done. And I did enjoy doing that. I liked adding the texture to the quilt. Well, after I did that, a family friend had asked if I would make a quilt for her. And I was like, I don't know how to make a quilt. I don't know what I'm doing. So I was like, well, what's the easiest way to do it? Because I can't quilt it. I'm not going to hand quilt it. What do I do? And so I looked online and I found instructions for how to make a rag quilt. And so I was like, okay, this I could do. So I went and bought some backing fabric and a layer cake. It was actually a Tula Pink layer cake. And some Osnaburg, which I think is marvelous as the middle layer for a rag quilt. It just frays absolutely beautifully. It fluffs up gorgeously. And I put together a rag quilt. I didn't feel like it was really a quilt because I didn't piece anything. And I certainly wasn't quilting it. I just was sewing X's through all the little stacks of sandwiches that I was going to sew into the rag quilt, and then I snipped all the seams. Well, I took it into the quilter studio because that's where I actually bought that Tula Pink fabric from, and I showed them what I did, and I saw hanging up on the wall behind the cash register was an announcement for another block of the month. Well, this block of the month was for a quilt called Gravity from Jaybird Quilts. You guys know the one I'm talking about. It's the one that Ian is working on right now. And I thought it was just absolutely beautiful. And I was like, oh, that's so pretty. Well, the lady working the cash register did what she was hired to do and was telling me about the block of the month and how I should sign up for it. And all I had ever done was a rag quilt. I didn't even know what a 1/4 inch seam was. I didn't. And I explained to her, I was like, well, I'm really new. I've never really quilted anything before. I've only made this rag quilt. Is that something that you think I could do? And she said yes. Y'all, I am here to tell you that maybe some beginners out there who don't even know what a 1/4 inch could tackle the Gravity quilt, which is a Lone Star quilt in a color wheel formation. But don't. So I signed up for the block of the month. And I was super eager. I was like, are you telling me every month I will give you money and you will give me fabric and a pattern just to make this little thing? And then at the end of the program, I will have that great big quilt? So I left the store, signed up for it, showed up on my first week. They gave me month number 1. I took it home. I cut it up. I sewed it together. And I starched the heck out of it. In fact, I put so much best press on that thing that it was flaking because I didn't know. Every time I touched the iron to that block, I was dousing it in best press. It got to the point where there was so much best press on the fabric that the best press was repelling the best press. I'm not kidding. So I was like, all right. I also didn't know. I thought I was being clever because remember, I'm coming from this with a mindset of I'm going to sew clothing and bags. I thought all of my seams needed to be pinked. So I got clever, and in my rotary blade, or in my rotary cutter, I replaced the standard cutter with a pinking blade. And so when I went in for month number 2 and showed off my block and picked up month number 2, Kathy picked up on how big my seams were on the back. She picked up on how I was piecing it with black thread, and I was working on a low volume area. She picked up on a bunch of those things, and she didn't embarrass me, but she did point out, she did point out a couple of those things. And so I was like, okay. And she was like, you might want to, I told her, I was like, I've never done this before. She's like, well, you might want to consider taking one of the quilting classes. And so that's what I mean by taught me how to really quilt. Man, this has been like a 20-minute story to answer that one question. So I signed up for a beginning sewing class to make sure I understood my machine and everything and how to use the rotary cutter properly. And then as soon as that series was done, I signed up for a beginning quilting class where we put together a quilt. And I loved it so much that in that class, I made 2 of the same quilt, and I gave them both to my in-laws. My father-in-law and my mother-in-law both got the very first proper quilts that I cut, pieced, and quilted all on my own. So, it looks like Molly Ryswick won the raffle. Did she get the, is she here? Did she reply in the chat? Mary, can you let me know if Molly replies? We'll give her until 8:50 p.m. Eastern time. Let me know in 3 minutes if we need to pick a new winner. Oh, there she is. Yay! She just responded. Thank you. I just see that now. Awesome. Okay, cool. About 9 o'clock, Mary will kick off another one if you don't mind. So on the hour and on the half hour, we'll do them. So we'll do one at 9 o'clock. We'll do one at 9:30. Actually, let's just do one every 15 minutes. Do one at 9, 9:15, 9:30, and 9:45. And then that will be 9, 9:15, 9:30. Yeah, that will be 5 charm packs altogether. Please and thank you. What Juki machine are you sewing on? Diana the Fiber Fan is asking. This is a Juki TL18. Thank you, Mary. Oh, my back feels so much better, and I don't know if it's because of that pad being removed or the Tylenol or both, but I ain't putting that pad back up here. I think it cradles, I think it makes my hips sit differently, and I have the chair angled so that my hips are cradled a little bit more, so it's a little more comfortable. Joan is asking if I know if Harper got to come. I don't know. She's asking, do I know if Harper got to come home on Monday? I don't know. You'll have to check the Harper Strong Facebook page. I don't have time to keep up with Facebook, honestly. And with Donna being in the hospital, if I'm being honest, most of my updates come from Donna herself. Donna's been in the hospital, and I have not been trying to bother her about things with her granddaughter, so... but I appreciate that you guys all care and want to know. I would tell you just check out the Facebook page, please. That's where you're going to get the most up-to-date information. Anything I have is going to be old. And sometimes very old. Sharon Wright is saying, Becca, congratulations on 30,000. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bill is asking where my mom is. She is downstairs with Mary. They are hanging out downstairs, having some girl time, while I am slaving away up here. Melissa Feldhouse is saying Harper did go home Monday. Awesome. Great. Thank you for answering that. See, I didn't even know. I didn't even know. I knew she was going to be going home soon, but I didn't have the status update. Janine is saying the same thing. Awesome, guys. Thank you. Teresa says, I look forward to these Friday nights, Becca. You are so refreshing and fun. Blessings to you and your family. Oh, thank you, Teresa. I look forward to Friday nights, too, even when I don't have my glasses on. Linda Daniel says, Lori, I remember meeting you at last October's retreat. I was sitting by Rhonda Holly Carr, and we will be sitting together again at this retreat. That's right, Ian. He said, now we just need to get you to 100,000 subscribers. Yes, please. My goal is to hit 40,000 before the end of the year. So if you are not subscribed, you could help me hit that goal by hitting the little subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it means a whole lot to me. Helps me know that you like what I'm doing here and you want to see more of it. Joan Reed is saying, thank you to everyone who answered. You're welcome. Beth Ann says, happy Friday, all. Finally home from work. Welcome home, Beth. Is this a Sew Sunday weekend or a full-blown retreat weekend? Debbie Dunn is asking. It is just a Sew Sunday weekend. The next full-blown retreat will be at the end of June, and Mary should, I believe, be here physically for that one. Mary will be here on Sunday, too, so Mom, Mary, and I will all be in the sewing room on Sunday. We'll be doing another raffle at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, April 26, 2024. So if you are watching live, you are welcome to enter it. You will have about 15 minutes to get your ticket. But while we're waiting for that to happen, I do have a lovely new bot command that allows you to promote your own YouTube channel. So if you want to just type !selfie into the chat, if you have a YouTube channel you would like for people to check out, it will give them a clickable link that they can go join, or they can go click on, subscribe to your channel, and go check out some of your content a little bit later this evening. How do the monthly Sew Sundays work? Zaza is asking. So if you are a VIP member, you get the link in the VIP Facebook group and in your email box. And if you are a channel supporter here, then you get the link from the community tab. Those links are published on Saturday, so they'll come out tomorrow. You also, if you are a VIP membership member on my website, you also get the link at the beginning of the month for the Zoom at the end of the month and the upcoming month, so you already have that in your inbox, but we like to send it out again on the Saturday before in case anybody joined the program between when the monthly newsletter at the beginning of the month was sent out and when the Zoom happens, so nobody misses it. How do they work logistically is that it's really handled more like an open sew. And we basically open up some breakout rooms, and everybody is assigned to a breakout room. So you kind of pop in there and you sew with whoever else is in your room, and you just chat with them and talk about all sorts of things. We host it and try to structure it so that the rooms are small enough that you can actually interact with other folks. Yeah, I'm almost done with this one. Good. And then I just float around from room to room, and I'll stop in and have a conversation with people for a little while, just like a hostess would at a party. I just float around from table to table, room to room, chat with everybody, and make sure everybody's having a good time. Usually they're very informal. It's just work on your own project, though if the crowd desires, we do tackle projects that the group wants to do. I let the VIP members in the VIP Facebook group, and maybe I usually let them vote on what we're going to do. So if you want to have a say in what we're doing on those Zooms, the membership program is where you need to be. I hope that answered your question, Zaza. All right, this one's bound. Hey, Fallon. All right. There we go. Harry said, wow, Becca, that was fast. Well, it was a small quilt. Trina Taco says, I could never do a YouTube channel. My quilting studio consists of a tray table and a brother sewing machine. That's what mine was in the early days. I had a little tray table that I put a brother sewing machine from Costco on, and I had another little side table when I upgraded. At first, that tray table had to be everything, but then I got smart and I got another little tray table that had like a small cutting mat. And then I had towels for a pressing mat. Oh, VR is asking, what is the best way of getting out of a groove of not sewing? To do it for 100% to do it. So what I find is I like to tackle, first of all, I give myself the freedom to have a period of time of not doing it if I don't feel like it. So if I'm not feeling up to sewing, it's okay for me to take some time off. If I'm feeling up to not making videos, I allow myself to take time to not make the videos, because at the end of the day, these are things that I want to do for a very long time, and I don't want to resent my channel, and I don't want to resent any of the projects that I'm doing. I always want to be happy about the content that I'm making and the quilts that I'm working on. And if I ever get to the point where it's not fun and it's not bringing me joy and it's not making me happy, then this isn't what I want to be doing, period. When I sit here and I appear to be happy and enjoying what I'm doing, I don't want that to be an act, first of all. So when I get in slumps, as we all do, where life is overwhelming or very busy for me and I can't do the things that I want to do, I lean into it. I allow myself to have time to decompress. I might find some time to play video games or just bum around the house and not do the thing, like just shirk the responsibility for a little bit, take a vacation. But at a certain point, I do need to come back around to it and I need to start working on something again. And when that happens, sometimes I have a case of I don't want tos. And for that, I will usually lean into a smaller project that is an easier sew and I can get quick gratification from. Because there's something about finishing something that inspires me to want to do it again. I find the longer, bigger, and more tedious the project was, the more time I need at the end to just be like, sometimes I just need a palate cleanser. So I finished Mufasa, the lion from Legit Kit, after prioritizing and working on that for months. I think it was like 4 months. And when that was done, I needed easy sews. So I just did things that I could get done in a couple hours. I was like, nope. Jacqueline Ann says, I have been in a slump with sewing and embroidery lately. Too many projects in the works and I'm feeling overwhelmed. That is absolutely another thing that I struggle with too. And one of the ways that I manage it, and I talk about this in, I think it was the first video that I did for 2024, I talk about a term that I call quilt bankruptcy. I regularly go through my projects, whether they are UFOs or whips, and I ask if they are a project that still needs to be done. Do I have to do it? Do I want to do it? And do I have everything I need for it? Do I need to put any more money into it? I think Karen Brown actually talked about those in her video too, but I've been talking about quilt bankruptcy before she did that video, so I'm just saying. But she has a video on it too, and she uses the same method that I do. Is this something that I want to make? Is it something that I need to make? Is it something that I can make? Like all of those things. And if the answer to those, based on what I answer to those questions, if it's not going to bring me joy and it's something that I can't do, don't want to do, whatever, don't need to do, then I allow that project to move on. And I declare quilt bankruptcy. And now quilt bankruptcy for me does not mean that I pick up the project and I throw it in the trash. There's way too much money that was put into that project to just throw it away. And I am sure some of you, if I ever said that or you saw me do that, you'd freak out. So trust me, I don't throw it away. But what I do is usually kit it up, bag it up together, and I'll pass it forward. I'll give it to somebody in my guild, one of my guilds. I'll pay it over to Tiffany. She's gotten several of my UFOs when they've become UFOs and we're never going to be another project again. And sometimes I'll just put the fabric in a de-stash bag, which I'm going to have some of in the next couple of weeks, by the way. But I'll put them in a de-stash bag. And then you can take the fabric and put it towards whatever you want. Keep the orphan blocks if you want, but I'm just getting rid of it, and I'm allowing that quilt to have a new chapter and a new life with someone else. So I hope that answered the question about the overwhelming comment. Patty Sears is asking, how did you start a YouTube channel? Well, I recorded a video and posted it. But I think I don't think you mean how, as in please walk me through the logistics of creating a YouTube channel. I think what you're probably asking me is why? Like, how did you find yourself wanting to make one? Maybe, I guess, is the question. So I'll answer that by telling you that I love to teach. I love to teach. When I started college, I started out majoring in elementary education. I was so excited. I used to force my sisters and brother to play school with me all the time. Like, I love to teach. I get really passionate about sharing things that I've learned. It's got me in trouble as a child. And I thought for sure my calling was to be a teacher. And maybe it was. Maybe it absolutely was. However, I got about 30 credit hours in, and I had to go audit a classroom. And since I was doing preliminary education, that meant grades 1 through 7. And I was like 21. I had started college a little bit late. I was like 21, 22, something like that. And so I didn't want to go to high school because I couldn't get past the idea of these kids are only like 5 years younger than me. Some of them are like 4 years younger than me. No, thank you. So I didn't want to go to high school. And I thought, I babysat all the time. I can deal with little kids. So instead of dealing with high schoolers, I felt like the easiest thing to do would be to work with the kindergartners because I don't have to deal with kids. I'm just playing with like kids all day. That can't be hard, right? Wrong! Wrong. I went to a kindergarten classroom. I audited it. I did finish that class, and I changed my major the next semester. I went from elementary education to computer information systems. I have a bachelor's degree in IT. Program management is specifically what I've focused on, and that's what my 9 to 5 is today. However, over the past, doing math in my head, oh my gosh, almost 30 years. Oh, I'm old. Over the past 30 years, I've spent in the IT industry, a little bit north of that, or a little bit south of that, sorry. I have focused, my role has been technical writing, teaching technology, managing projects, all of those things. And so it's allowed me to kind of still feel like I'm teaching a little bit and still play around with technology a little bit, kind of be on that breaking cusp of technology. So how did I start the YouTube channel? Why did I start the YouTube channel? Well, now that you know what my passion is, I love teaching. Let me bring you forward a little bit. In 2017, I think is when it was. I can't remember the exact year. But I do remember that a friend of mine taught me to sew, and I was really excited about that. And because I get so passionate about sharing knowledge that I have acquired with anybody that will listen, I took it upon myself to buy slowly over the course of like a year. Everybody was getting all these sewing machines. And I was convinced that I was going to teach them all to sew too because I loved it so much. And so I decided I wanted to make a video. Every time I learned something, I wanted to make a video kind of cataloging what I learned. It would help me retain the information because I was able to regurgitate it, but it would also help others. Like when I say others, I mean my sisters, my sister-in-law, and that was kind of like it. It would allow me to help a couple of them. Well, I did a video, very rough video of how to change your needle on your sewing machine, and I uploaded it. And like 2 years later, I never had uploaded another video. There was nothing else out there. And I logged in to YouTube one day. I kept uploading other videos of like Zoe for like my sisters and my brother and my mom and stuff, because that's what YouTube was for me at the time. You're supposed to share videos of your kids. And so that's what I was doing. And I looked in and I saw that video had like 20 or 30,000 views. And people were subscribing to my channel. I only had like 200 subscribers, but people were subscribing to the channel from that one video. Now, this wasn't a viral video. It was not a viral video, but you have to understand, for me, I never uploaded anything else. That seemed to catch people's interest. And I was like, oh, there might be something to this. And so I started toying with the idea in 2017, 2018, I think it was 2018, I started toying with the idea of making more content where I could teach people how, like what I was learning, but I struggled with that because I was still, and I still don't know everything, but I was very much a beginner and I was still trying to figure it out on my own. And I was terrified that if I put myself in front of the camera and started producing all of this content, people were going to call me a phony and they were going to feel like I was acting better than them. I was telling them how it should be done and I didn't know what I was talking about. And I did not want that to happen. I never want anybody to feel like I think I'm better than them. That is not my MO. So I leaned into unboxings because I felt like that was content that was safer for me. And over time, I got more comfortable in front of the camera. I got more comfortable in front of an audience. And now what it's allowed me to do is dabble with technology, which I love, teach, which I am passionate about, and be creative, which I extremely enjoy. So the YouTube channel is as much therapeutic for me making the content and making the materials and the projects in front of you on the video as it might be for you watching it. So that was a long answer to a very easy question. I hope that answered what you were asking, Patty. Danelle Stitchery says, hey, so Becca, I just wanted to say thank you for being so awesome. I truly appreciate everything you do for all of us and more. You are such an amazing person. Thank you. I appreciate that. You got more confidence. Tracy Dane, thank you. It took a long time to get to the point where I was where I'm comfortable in front of the camera. In fact, I'll tell you a secret. When I'm on work calls, and sometimes, most of the time, we don't turn our cameras on now. Some of us always turn them on. I usually never do, especially if I'm working from home because my hair is usually pretty crazy and my dogs are jumping on my lap and you don't need to see all that. But even when the camera's not on, my eyes go whoop, right there to the camera lens because I'm talking to the lens. I'm talking to you. I don't usually see all of this other stuff going on. I can see it out of the corner of my eye, but it's so important to me that you feel like I'm connecting with you. So I'm trying to look right at you. Yes, Ian, I am looking into your eyes. So it's, I've definitely gotten very comfortable in front of the camera. Like, who would have thought that I would be able to hit go live and sit here and just chatter about nonsense for 2 hours and not feel nervous or butterflies or any of that stuff anymore. Although I will say, I have had to figure out what works for me to keep that nervousness at bay. I know I've kind of alluded to this before, but I will just bring this up again. I actually don't know how many of you are watching right now, and I don't want to know, so don't put it in the chat. I size my windows so that I don't know how many people are watching because I've always, for a long time, I was like, oh my gosh, only 5 people are going to show up. Nobody's going to want to watch. Nobody's going to want to watch. Nobody's going to want to watch. And I didn't want you to see my disappointment when I did a live stream and only had 5 people, like go from 200 one week to 5 the next week. Because I would have processed all that right there on camera. So I just removed the numbers. Like I size my window so I don't even see. So I don't know how many people are here. And I don't want to ever know while I'm doing a live stream because then it will become about the numbers and that's not what this is supposed to be about. So you can't put it in front, don't put it in the chat. That's why, spoiler alert, I don't like it. Every once in a while I'll see somebody will type in something like 300 people are here, but there's only 150 thumbs up. Come on guys. And I'm like, oh, they just ruined it for me. Tiffany saying, did you get the quilts bound that we finished when I was there? No, Tiff, that's what I'm working on tonight, actually. And speaking of, this is the one that I'm working on next. Trina Taco says, you mean you really aren't talking to just me? Kidding! You do great. I feel like we're friends hanging out. You're welcome, Trina. And I'm glad that you're here with me. Rachel says, that's the best streamer advice ever. Never look at the numbers. Absolutely. I think she's on Twitch, by the way. So, Rachel, if you could somehow just copy and paste your streaming platform in there. I don't think you do YouTube, so exclamation selfie won't help you, but Ian could help get your link to share your social media platform for people too. Yeah, I did give Mary limited permissions to do some things in stream in a YouTube studio for me. So she looks at numbers for me until I am ready to see them. So I will eventually go back and look to see how did my live stream perform, because there's important data in the analytics that help me know what to do more of and what to do less of. So I will look at that, but I usually wait until the live stream is over and I've had time to come down and decompress. And then I take a deep breath and I go, okay, did I have 5 or did I have 10 people watching? I'll go and watch. And Mary usually knows way ahead of that. Kathy says, whose picture do you have at the lens of the camera? Oh, none. There's no picture at the lens of the camera. Just you. It's you, Kathy. Just you. Talking right to you. Look into my eyes. No, this is not the one. That one was actually the one that I finished. It's on the floor. No, that one was the jelly roll that's already bound. That one's gone. That one's bound. That one's done. I'm not even going to talk about. Julie says, but 5 excited and loyal viewers can be a fun night. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. And there's nothing wrong with that. See, it's not about the numbers. There's nothing wrong with 5 versus 500 versus 5,000. There's nothing wrong with that. However, when you get to a point where you have 200 people watching you, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get 50, that could be, like, I don't want that to happen. You know what I mean? Like, and it could be because there's all sorts of other things happening, right? It could be Good Friday. It could be a holiday weekend. It could be the middle of summer. But I don't want to process all those thoughts on the live stream, because that would rob me of the time that I would get to spend with you. So, no, thank you. Lori says, you're awesome. I learned to quilt using YouTube videos. I used those a lot too for a while. And then I needed to brush up my game a bit. I bought the Juki TL18 QVP, Lori Williams says. I've been looking for a while, but your wise choice led to my my happiest sewing purchase. I love this one. And for anybody that's curious, it is exactly just like the 2010. Really no big difference. Becky B says, teachers and students like small classrooms. I love a small classroom. I do have a dream of teaching virtual classes, whether it's through my website or for quilt shops. That is, I have done a couple for, so yeah, I haven't had a chance to do any more. I just don't have the time, honestly, but I do want to do them. Maybe once some of the projects at work die down, that's something that I can try to think through what that cadence would look like. Yeah, I agree, Ian. So Ian's saying that he wants to see this quilt once it's washed because he wants to see if it'll soften up. So let me tell you about what this quilt is. If you go back and watch it, I have a video. I actually have a video that's, the thumbnail says 3,024 pieces, and it's got this quilt on it. Right now, you're just seeing the back of it. I'll flip it over. I realize now that I am stitching from the back, and I'm going to have to tack it down from the front, but that's fine. It is what it is. Anywho, I used the interfacing grid to take a bunch of 1.5-inch squares that were left over from my Rose and Bloom quilt, and adhered it to that grid interfacing and then pieced it together. So I have a postage stamp quilt, and it's wonderful, but that interfacing makes this very stiff. And then we did quilt it pretty densely, but not that densely. It's really rigid right now. So Yeah, he's interested to see how much softer this will be after we wash it. And I'll be honest, I am too. I kind of want to toss it in the wash tonight and see what happens to it. Congratulations on winning the raffle, Cindy. Lady Fair says the biggest difference between the 2010 and the TL18 is the micro lifter. It's like a built-in hot hoop jumper, but better. Yes, that's here, but I really haven't used it. If you are a bag maker or you would need to use it, then obviously get the TL18. But if price is a decider for you, you can get the same machine without the micro lifter for about half the price on the 2010. Trina Taco says, I learned everything I know about quilting from YouTube. The day I knew lockdowns were coming, I marched over to Joann Fabrics, bought fabric, a sewing machine, and had zero idea what I was going to do with it. I was sewing and quilting before the lockdown happened. I was doing that before the lockdown. But it wasn't years. It wasn't years in the making. My keyboard, I'm hitting keys on the keyboard and the screen is spazzing out. I've already started working on 2 more videos that will be coming out over the next several weeks. One of them is a video on Quilt As You Go, so you'll want to tune in to see how I tackle that. And then the other one is going to be another tutorial for a pattern that I've just kind of wrapped the design process for and have started testing and actually putting pen to ink on the pattern. And if you are looking for another pattern, I just did drop one this week. So if you haven't checked out my video from earlier this week, I did drop a tutorial video showing you how to put together a quilt for a pattern I call Dancing Squares. Essentially, it's just a play on a courthouse step block, but there is a pattern available for you if you are a member of my VIP membership, $5 a month, $55 a year. Not only do you get access to those VIP Zooms that we do every month and 3 times a year every weekend, 4 times a year every weekend, but you also get a newsletter and you get a copy of any pattern that I write in the VIP download area, so you don't have to spend the $10 on the pattern or however much that pattern happens to be. You can just download it for free. So $5 a month, every month, and whenever I write a pattern, you get it for free, or $10 for the pattern. You do the math. Are you doing little houses at all? I don't know what that is. That's from Terry Bishop, but I'm not sure what she's referring to. LA4 Dreams is here. It says, hello, everyone. Tiffany said, this is one of the quilts that I taught Becca how to keep square in the long arm because with the extra layer, it got a bit wonky. It did. The interfacing, you would have thought would have kept this quilt nice and straight and not wonky, but it actually made it worse. Or maybe it made it better and it would have been really bad with the 1.5 inch squares. Either way, she had to teach me about basting on this one. I might need a refresher on that because I've not loaded an actual quilt on the long arm since you left, Tiff. I just keep working on practice pieces and I'm about out of backing now. I'm about out of my practice backing, so it'll be time to switch that up in a bit. Where are your patterns sold? Or what? My patterns are all on my Etsy shop. There's a link to it from my website. Exclamation Etsy will also get you a link over to my Etsy shop. Etsy's pretty much just my patterns. I don't put anything else out there. I don't have time to run a physical quilt shop. It's not really even my desire to do that. I like the idea of making the money, but I don't have the time to do the work. And honestly, it's not something that I have any plans to do anytime soon, but I do want to sell my patterns. And so I just sell patterns on Etsy. I don't have a ton of stuff out there, but that's where you can find my patterns. Tyler says, do you use the camera in your... Oh, sorry, Tyler. Tyler's asking, do you have to use your camera in the weekend Zooms? I dropped my iPad and the lens is broken. No, absolutely not. Several people don't turn on their camera. They like to be there just to listen or talk. Some people join and literally just listen to the conversation and keep their camera turned off. It's completely up to you. That is your time to do with as you choose. I will say, if you don't at least speak up and say hi and let people know that you're there, it's a little weird, but not so weird that people don't get over it. By the way, I think I forgot to mention this. I should have mentioned it earlier. I apologize. While the raffle is open to our international friends, we are happy to include you as well. If you win the raffle, we will work with you because we will either ask you to help cover international shipping for your charm pack. Because let's be honest, the cost to mail a $10 or $12 is it now, charm pack overseas is going to cost more than the charm pack is worth. Or we will put a pattern or a postcard or something small that could be mailed like a letter in the mail to you, preferably a quilted postcard. So you're welcome to enter. Just understand that you may not get a charm pack if you can't help offset the shipping cost. And I apologize if any of the prior winners were already picked and they were overseas. We will work all that out in email. Ronnie Nicole says, I liked your swirl flower you were long arming, but when I tried, it looked really bad. Go back and try practicing swirls more. Get your loop and then practice your loops. Just do an all over loop. That's what your flower will build off of, is your all over loops. Get the loops down. Oh my gosh. Trina says, where are you buying $10 to $12 charm packs in Illinois? I'm paying at least $16. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't buy charm packs that much anymore, so I'm just quoting a price. I thought it was... I didn't know that they went up again. Last time I bought charm packs, I thought they were like $12 or $13 a piece. I haven't bought charm packs in a long time. Although, actually, that's not true. I have bought some, but I bought them as wholesale. So I don't pay the same price for them wholesale that you would. If I can get it wholesale. I can't get everything wholesale, but I can get some of it. But you do have to buy it in bulk, so there's that. How are you on free motion quilting? The reason I ask is because, well, never mind. I have no idea what the rest of that said. I went too close to the edge. The stitch. I see a few people asking Mary to check to see if they have tickets. Keep in mind that the bot sometimes doesn't keep up with you or can't keep up with returning a response for everybody if they got a ticket. So if you're ever curious, if you've got a ticket, you can just type !raffle into the chat again. If you can't get multiple tickets, so if you already have one, the bot's not going to give you a new one, and it won't reply to you. I think sometimes I don't think it replies to you at all. But if you didn't have one, it will get you one. Just so that Mary doesn't have to keep going in and checking everybody's name against the bot, which can be tedious and time consuming. All you have to do is just type !raffle again. It's even less characters for you to type !raffle and hit enter than Mary, please check to see if I already have a ticket. Try that first. If you do that a couple of times and you're still not getting a response, then ask Mary for support. All right. And then the other trick that I use is when the bot first opens up, I usually wait before I request my ticket because it's usually overwhelmed in the beginning, and that's when things can get a little messy. Burp, burp, burp. Come on. That's right. Get folded. There we go. Tack that down so that I can tuck it in. Tuck it in, tuck it in. I'm going to get a message from Bill about singing that song. Francis Jackson is saying, who is Mary? Mary is in the chat as the Crafty Panda. She is a friend of mine, and she helps out with some of my, like managing the bot and stuff while I'm live so that I don't have to do everything all at once. She handles the bot and the commands and the giveaways while I'm running the live stream. When is the next weekend Zoom? Lauren King is asking. It is Sunday. The next weekend long one is at the end of June. The next Sunday one is this Sunday. Oh, that's not good. We didn't do this right. We didn't do it right. I'm gonna keep it anyway. We don't care. There we go. Nobody will know. How will they know? They'll never know. How will they know? Yeah, they'll never know. I was just a little shy on my binding, and I just pulled it and stretched it and made it work. Quilt Song says, thanks for giving me my quilting fix. Everything's been packed for weeks as we get ready to move. Ooh, exciting. You're moving. I also know how absolutely detrimental that can be. So good luck and congratulations. I'm happy to be your quilting fix. And hopefully you don't forget about me when you get settled in a new home. Trina says, sing it, sister. I'm not saying anything, but I did just change my plug-in fresh linen. Bill, you kill me. Is that Luann? Yep, Luann. She says, that's a beautiful quilt. Thank you. This one is stiff as can be. Oh. Stiff. Angela says, you're making me excited to finish my quilt for comfort cases. Karen's asking how my mom's quilt's coming along. Well, she has not worked on it at all this week. So does that tell you anything? Did I? Ian said, Becca, why did you just read Bill's comment with his accent? Did I really? I didn't even hear that I did that. I'll have to go back and watch the replay. Sorry, Bill. I sometimes, like, I'll get somebody's dialect or accent in my head, and it just sticks. That cover, it didn't. I need to go back. I don't have my left compensating foot on, and I just veered off of the stitching hair, so I want to go back and get that. So I had I told Ian this, and I think I've shared it with Mary too. Maybe, I don't even know who I told it with. Maybe all of you have heard the story already. But I had a friend that I used to commute to and from work with, and we would take the metro. And the metro stop that we would go to would be Pentagon City. It's in the basement of the Pentagon City Mall, and in the basement of the mall is a food court. And McDonald's is one of the things at the food court. So sometimes we would stop at McDonald's for breakfast before we would get on the train and go into work. And this one particular morning, I was still very tired. We decide we're going to stop at McDonald's for a breakfast sandwich, and the lady takes my order, tells me the total, I pay, and she replies with a thick Latino accent, "Have a good day." And I just looked at her, and without missing a beat, I went, "Have a good day," in the same accent that she had given me, which over the years I have forgotten how it sounds. I just know how I'm made fun of when I say it, so that's what I emulate. But I didn't even realize I did it until the friend that I was traveling with looked at me. His jaw was on the floor, and he's like, "She's gonna spit in your food." Because I guess it sounded like I was making fun of her, and I wasn't. It just came out. "Have a good day." They also used to have one of those, and maybe it still plays, I don't know, because I haven't ridden Metro in years, but they used to have alert or like a public service announcement that would play at all the Metro stations, like see something, say something type of announcement thing, right? But it always started with this girl who would come on, and she'd be like, "Welcome to Metro," and then she'd be like, "Here is some tips for your trip." Y'all, this is the nation's capital. Why are we saying here is some tips? Why? Why? Here are some tips for your trip. Come on, guys. Here is some tips. So that is a joke that the same friend and I used to, for years. Here is some tips for your trip. In a slightly more ghetto-fied voice than was originally recorded. Slightly exaggerated, but those were the words. Here is some tips for your trip. So if you ever hear me say that, now you have the answer. What? How many blocks is in the quilt, Becca? 3,024 1.5-inch squares that obviously finish at 1 inch. This one can be done anytime now. Listen, Susie, Quilt Song says, "I'm glad I'm not the only grammar police around." Well, I'm not grammar police. I get it. Like, and I've messed things up too. However, I just felt like a company that, like, Metro is a like this wasn't just like I was like, we could make this a little more professional, guys. Here is some tips for your trip. People riding, like, how many tourists came to DC, heard that, and went home laughing? That's what was going through my mind. Like, you've got all sorts of professionals that are working to run the government that hear this. You've got people touring the nation's capital from around the world, and that's what we're saying. Here is some tips for your trip. Okay. Pearl Medina won the raffle. Congratulations, Pearl. Make sure to claim your prize in the chat. Oh my gosh. This one sucks. It's so stiff. Shut up, Bill. Tiffany said, wow, the storm is crazy loud and now it's raining with good thunder and lightning. I sure love Arizona storms. I love a good thunderstorm. Although, where we live, it's so dark outside that sometimes that lightning will wake you up, and the thunder too. We've had a couple thunderstorms that have woken me up in the middle. Shut up, Ian. That have woken up in the middle of the. Have woken me up in the middle of the night. Either the thunder has been extremely loud, or the lightning just lights up the whole house. I feel like with the light pollution in the city, we probably wouldn't have noticed the lightning thing as much. Maybe the thunder, but out here, and the thunder maybe is a little bit more noticeable too, because it's so quiet at night. You don't have any noise pollution from nearby freeways and stuff. Gwendolyn Hank says, what is a micro lifter? It's this little knob over here that basically allows me to set the tension, adjust the tension of the presser foot. So I can set it so that it doesn't apply as much pressure to my fabric, or more if I need it. It's supposed to be good for lots of sewing with bulky items. Oh, happy birthday, Trey Joyner. Oh, no. How long was I air sewing? Y'all didn't catch that? Y'all didn't catch that. What kind of friends are you? Like, y'all didn't catch that I ran out of bobbin. Fine. Fine. It's only half of a whole side of this quilt. No big deal. No big deal. It's fine. Excuse me while I rage quit inside. We can't see a close-up picture, Becca. So it's your fault for not setting up the cameras the right way. No, you're right. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. The one time I didn't go to that scene, and y'all could have told me, Becca, it's not stitching. I'm also just giving you a hard time. Because it's better that than scream, right? One drop of oil into le bobine. Oh, there's a nail file. One bobine inserted into the hole. Clickety click into, there we go. And shove the thread down inside. Oh, good. And this is the last side. Oh, well, almost last side. Okay, we're going to finish this and then we'll do some sew and tell. So if you want to show me what you air sewed tonight, exclamation Facebook, we'll put a link into the chat and you can go over and drop in some pictures. And hopefully you haven't been doing much air sewing. What did you do on a live stream? I bound 2 quilts. Are we stitching? Yes, we're stitching. Oh gosh. This one's hard because it's so stiff. It's not pliable like the other one, so getting it to move out of the way is difficult to smush it while also keeping it flat underneath the needle. It's not impossible. It's just a little more work than it needs to be. But I'm coming around the last corner now that I got bobbin in there. And then when it gets caught on the front of the table, that makes it fun too. This one's just super susceptible to any drag. I hit my T-bar and the presser foot at the same time. The needle just started hopping all over the place. I feel like if I stick my tongue out to the left side of my mouth, this will go better. Almost there. Come on. Come on, guys. Start chanting. 5, 4, 3, 2. Well, I don't even know. Maybe by the time you hear me chant, you can start saying, go, 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 and then I will be done. Just start typing yay, because then by the time you type it, I will be done. Yay! Ah, finally. Another one bites the dust. Let's just shake this one out. It's all done. I'm going to throw that one in the wash right away. You scared me, Becca. All right, 2 quilts bound. 83,000 more to go. Seriously, 3 more, I think. Yeah, 3 more. Not bad. I can do those this weekend. All right, let's do our final raffle of the night. And then while that's running, we will go take a look at Facebook. That's the she done toss, Trina said. Hold on, I'm rubbing my eye so I can actually read what's being said. Sammy says, any tips for basting a queen size quilt to quilt on a domestic? I have 6 I need to do and no money for a long armor. Yes. Hold on. Sorry, you didn't need me to sneeze in your ear. Here's how I used to base my quilts before I had a long armor. First of all, if you do have a friend who is a long armor and you have your backing and your batting, rather than asking them to long arm your quilt, you could ask them to baste your quilt for you. So some long armors will do that for a very small fee. Sometimes if they love you and know you, they'll do it for free. However, if that is not an option, this is what I used to do. I had a table or a desk, some surface that was big enough to put these large or extra large binder clips on. And so what I would do is start with the center of the quilt backing. I would lay it down on that table and take about 4 or 6 of these and clamp the backing to the back of the table, just the center part. And then I would put the batting on top of it, making sure that it was covering the center of the backing. We want the backing to be larger than the batting and the batting to be larger than the quilt top. So quilt top is the smallest, then middle is, that way you can see where everything is. And you can see it on the hanging over. You clip the batting and then you put the batting on and smooth that out, and then you come back around and you put the clip over the batting and the backing. And then you go get the quilt top and you lay it down on top of that, and if you can, clip it around all 3 layers. But what is most important is that you're going to go through with your safety pins and pin it while it's on that surface. Whether it's a desk or a big kitchen table, whatever it is, these clamps are absolutely amazing. Now, if you have a surface that is bigger than the binder clips that you can get from an office supply store, a C-clamp will work. You don't need tons of pressure, but you just want something to hold those layers to the table. Once you have that middle part quilted or basted, hi. Pearl Medina, we have not heard from you. Please claim your prize. We will give you until 9:50, 2 more minutes. If you don't type in the chat that you're here, then we're going to give your prize to somebody else. So you have 2 minutes. Anyway, C-clamps or something else to hold the layers to the surface. Pin it and then pick it up, move it, and then reapply the clamps, and do that until the whole thing is basted the way you would like, whether it's with pins or spray basting or whatever. It allows you to get up off of the floor. It also allows you to not baste while it's hanging on a wall. I always had struggles with that. I know a lot of people are like, I use my design wall to baste. I tried, it didn't work for me. I still had to do a lot of bending over. What was easier for me is if I could bring the quilt up to my height. And so I bought from Joann's, I don't know how much they cost, but one of those foldable, collapsible craft tables that fold up really small, but then the 2 leaves fold out. That was my basting surface for years. So we've got 1 more minute. We're going to let Pearl Medina come in. Pearl Medina, Pearl Medina, Medina. We're getting another question that says, have you ever heard of or tried glue basting? I do glue basting for binding or applique or something like that. I do have some basting adhesive, the spray kind, that I'll use. But for me, because I have a long armor, I don't baste quilts because I load them onto my long arm. If I have a small quilt sandwich that needs to be quilted, if it needs basting, I'll just do adhesive basting because it's small. And sometimes it's small enough that I don't even need to baste it. Katie says, I hope you see this. Your exploding star pattern that I made the quilt out of has been delivered and the new owner is one happy camper. Awesome. All right, it is 9:50. I don't believe Pearl Medina has popped into the chat. So we're going to pick a new winner. Mary, I'll let you do that. Go ahead and pick a new winner. Or you can just start a new raffle. Actually, that's if you haven't done this already. What I would do is just cancel out of that one. Start a new. Okay. We're going to start a new raffle and we're going to pick 2 winners from that one. That makes sense? Sorry, just typing to Mary in a text message so she knows what we're doing. Cool. All right, let's hop over to Facebook. And oh, Pearl did answer. Pearl, Medina, if you answered, email us your. We'll still honor you if you answered. You have to answer. You have to send an email with your physical mailing address to info@sobecca.com. All right, let's go take a look at. Whoa, the chat just went crazy. Let's go take a look at what we've been doing in the Facebook group. Maybe. Why is it not loading? It worked before the live stream. Oh, I signed out and came back in. That's right. I don't think I have to. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the screen share to work. Nope. Try this one more time. It's showing the wrong. Oh, there it goes. Cool. Yay. All right. Yay. I was afraid it wasn't going to be able to work. All right. So the first thing that we have is from Nancy Gus. This is what she has been working on. Beautiful. I'm also going to change this to new post so we see the newest post first. Moving down, this is from Yvette Hartsew. She just got done sewing waves on her mom's lap quilt, and this fabric is so beautiful. I like it. Very beachy. Pearl, the email address is info@sobecca.com. Actually, it's going to go to Mary, so you can just send it to mary@sobecca.com. Either way works. info@sobecca.com or mary@sobecca.com would be your best bet. Kristen Sedlock says, my quality control came to investigate the quilt just finished. And I had just finished sewing on the binding, and I love the florals. I love the puppy. Linda Robinson says she's working on the temperature quilt inside, and she's making a boat cover with her cat Shackle on the outside. Jacqueline Molnar says this is a sunflower table runner that she got from a local quilt shop. Terry says, yep, I was air sewing with you. This is a snippets pack from Cotton Cuts, and they have a challenge to make something out of your snippets. And it got me off the couch and over to my happy place, my sewing corner. Anne-Marie Mikowski is working on Home Sweet Home. It's a It's So Emma pattern. This took longer than it should have, but she loves the finish. That is gorgeous. See, when I see stuff like this, I'm like, oh, maybe I do want to do cross stitch. Juanita Hale says, I made a remembrance plant out of my dad's shirts. He was a mechanic, so I threw some wrench fabric in the mix. I love and miss him dearly. Aww. Gina says this is her miniature continuum quilt, and she finished it a couple hours ago. Kathy N says, I'm getting there. More flowers and leaves to go, and in the purple and blue, there will be snowflakes. So Blessed by Jessica said, this is my twist on the So Be It Quilt's modern diamond pattern. I absolutely love it. Karen says, this is the latest quilt that I finished. The pattern is Secret Agent from the Modern Quilt Studio. The play on light between dark and light of the same color made for a very cool quilt. Debbie Dunn says, I've been binding like a maniac trying to get these 35 donation quilts done. I now have 7 completely done, another 8 quilted and partially bound, and 2 on the long arm, and I think the rest are pieced. I'll hang them and post full pictures when I'm done. Deb says, Cotton Cuts Carnival Large, center done. Now to add the borders. This colorway is Petting Zoo, and it is Tula Pink fabrics. That's gorgeous. One of my dogs is yapping on the other side of the door, and it's driving me batty. Shirley says, we had a sewing day at church last Saturday to make charity quilts. This is as far as I got, and I will have to wait a bit as I'm leaving for Florida Sunday to visit family. Barbara Cade says, border on, and now I have to wrestle this monster under my machine to quilt it. Pretty. Let's refresh the page and see what else has come in. Lily says, I'm working on my sawtooth star blocks for the first time. The first one is the disaster I started with and was ready to throw in the towel, but stayed with it. And I think I now like this block. By the way, we've got somebody who's trying to get in here. Melissa, we've got you. You're in. Feel free to post your picture. Hello, Maritza. Go back up here and do new posts. Waiting for it to load. There we go. Ooh, Patty is going to start this. That looks like fun. Love the colors. Ooh, Shelly Ferguson says, this is my Showering Stars quilt top. Ian, look, she did it with you. Cheryl Christopher says, this is my first quilt for a great-granddaughter, and I embroidered the alphabet on it. Let's take a look at the alphabet embroidery. Oh, so pretty. I love it. Roberta Lawson says, these are cuddle quilts for my great-grands who will be big sisters later this summer. I still need to complete them. Congratulations. Beautiful quilts. Yvonne says this is a t-shirt quilt that she finished for a friend of hers. Very nice. I like it. Bill says 4 blocks left. Sunday? I need to get my designer mystery quilt caught up too. Maybe that's the other thing I'll work on Sunday. Josie says she has 1 more to go. Looking good. And then we're back to Nancy's post. Becca, do you do any applique? Not really. Not really. I know how to. I've tinkered with it. I'm not terribly good at it. I would like to do more. That might be something I do more of in the future. The struggle that I have is this is a straight stitch only machine, and I've actually decided, so I have 2 Jukies. And they're both straight stitch only machines. My mom's here now, and so I have the baby lock set up at my secondary sewing station, and I think I've made the decision that I'm probably going to keep the baby lock set up in here and recess it down into that little table so that when I want or need a zigzag stitch, I can go do that. Unfortunately, for me, it feels wasteful because now I have the second Juki that's not going to be getting a lot of use because now I have the TL18. However, Bubba is backup for this. So when I need to take this one into the shop or whatever I can, or I can leave this one recessed down in here and travel with Bubba. So I don't know. I feel bad for that, but there are times where occasionally I'll need a zigzag, and Mom prefers that baby lock more than the Juki, so. But that's why I don't usually do applique, because it's a straight stitch only machine, and I could do it here. I've also tinkered with the idea of getting better at stitching by hand. I just don't find that relaxing or enjoyable at all. So it's not my cup of tea. Ooh, get a small table for the other Juki. Yeah, I could, but if I get a small table for the other Juki, like, there's still only one of me. I have it in case. So here's what I've reconciled with. I can keep and put up her, it, whatever. And when I have company that comes and visits, for example, if you and Ian both come visit again in 2026 for Raleigh, everybody has a sewing machine and nobody needs to travel with one. If Mary comes to visit while my mom's here, she doesn't have to bring a sewing machine. I have one. So, and yeah, that's just kind of where I am. They'll be fine. All right, let's see what else is in here. From Tyler Bussard, I finally finished my Emerald Isle quilt at Retreat over the weekend. That is stinking gorgeous. Wow. Oh, I love it. That's beautiful. Back to the Sawtooth Star Blocks from Lily. Sally Arthur says, I have been up and down 2 times and haven't been entered. Sally, type in exclamation raffle. Keep in mind that sometimes it doesn't reply and tell you that you're entered, but you really were entered. So that's all how the technology works. Sometimes the bot sends so many responses to YouTube that YouTube doesn't serve up all of the responses. But I will double check while I am sitting here. I have to open another window to do that. Huh. I see you right here, Sally. Sally Arthur has a ticket. Yep, Sally Arthur, you got a ticket. I see it right here. So just because the bot doesn't tell you that you didn't have a ticket doesn't mean that you didn't have a ticket. Sometimes the chat gets dropped. You're welcome. Oh, and there it is again. So awesome, cool. And it says now you've been entered. Awesome, cool. But still only have 1 ticket. Kathy Hoffman says, I'm working on this. It will be a king size quilt. Lots of green. It's kind of got friendship vibes, doesn't it? Like friendship braid vibes. You're welcome. All right. How much time is left on that giveaway? Only a minute. Oh, cool. Cool. So we'll let Mary pick the first winner. The first winner we're going to look for you to acknowledge. And then once you've acknowledged, she'll pick a second winner. And we're going to wait for you to acknowledge. And then once the winners are picked, we're going to close it out for the night. And I'm going to go get some rest because I've got a long weekend ahead of me. But we will sit here for a moment and wait for the bot to wind down. So we've got 1 minute left. What questions do you have that I haven't talked about tonight? Not a problem. Sally said she had a space between exclamation and raffle. Yeah, that'll do it. Trina Taco is asking, to the applique peeps, were you taught or did you learn the old-fashioned YouTube way? Jean says, I hand quilt and bind. Oh no. Annette Morris says, my finger got stuck in my Juki. The needle bar screw was stuck in my baby finger at the top of the machine, and I had to break the needle bar to get my finger out. Good thing I had a backup. Oh my goodness. Are you okay? Oh, Tiffy, I love you too. She says, I love you, bestie. I miss you and I can't wait to visit again. I can't wait. I can't wait for you to visit again. Ooh. But I think the next visit is me coming to you. So I'll see you in February at Phoenix. And then if there's no visit in between, I guess it'll be QuiltCon 26. Somebody saying, I missed, how is Donna? Donna's on the mend. If you want any information about how Donna's doing, please check her social media. I don't want to give out information that her family doesn't want to share, but I can tell you she is on the mend. I will tell you a little secret that I am going to go see her tomorrow. And that's part of the reason why I'll be so busy, because I'm going to go spend a little bit of time visiting with her, and I'm going to take her some hand work that she can work on while she's recovering. But that's all I'm going to say. There will be no post. There will be no lives. There will be no other things shared, because I want to respect her and her family's privacy during this time. So just know that she's doing better, and keep praying, keep thinking about her, keep watching her videos. She'll be back soon enough. So Stitch Quilt says, I have no idea how you manage a full-time job and all of your quilting videos. Great job. Yeah, I know, right? I do one video a month now. I don't do as many as I used to do, but I've taken, thank you for that, by the way. I've gone in the direction of quality over quantity. So rather than doing weekly videos all the time, I'm trying to do quality videos. And if it takes me 3 or 4 weeks to make a video, then it takes me 3 or 4 weeks to make a video. The only thing that I don't let up on, or I keep to a regular schedule, is the Friday night live stream. I'm always going, with the exception of like 1 or 2 Fridays a year, I'm always going to be live on a Friday night. And this is where I'm going to sit and I'm going to sew. This is the routine. And then the other videos, I like to do at least 1 pre-recorded, sometimes 2 if I can manage it, videos a month. That's where I'm at right now. If I am able to do more in the future, great. But right now I can't keep up with a weekly upload schedule, not with work and family and everything else. I wished I was able to prioritize doing all of this as my 9-to-5 job, because then there would be weekly videos. There would be. And there would probably be monthly patterns, and there would be tutorials and sew-alongs and all sorts of things. But as long as I have a 9-to-5 job, this is secondary to that. And it's also secondary to my family, and it's secondary to a bunch of other things in my life. I am blessed that I get to do it, but I do have to keep it in a time box. So the way I keep up with it is I just stay organized, and I try to stay on top of what I'm committing to and what I'm saying yes to. I want to say yes to a whole lot of things, but sometimes I can't say yes to the things because I don't have anything to give. So I have to say no to a lot. That has been a whole lesson. Let's see, did we pick our first winner? So Quilty with Melissa was the first winner. We are waiting for her to reply. So Quilty with Melissa, please make sure to type in the chat that you are acknowledging that you've won, and then we're going to pick one more winner, but we're waiting on you. Will do, Joan. Will do. She says, please tell Donna she's in my prayers for a complete recovery. Awesome. Angela says, this is my exciting Friday activity. Woohoo! Auntie L says, you need to win the lottery so you can retire. Oh, gosh. Awesome. So Quilty with Melissa is here. She's in the chat. So wonderful. We're going to pick, and Sheila Gage was the other winner, it looks like. So those are our final 2 winners for tonight. Is that right? Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Juanita Hale says, I love spending my Friday nights with y'all. I look forward to it all week. Aw, that's so kind. I look forward to these too. Teresa Foster is saying, good night, everyone. Have a great weekend. Lori says, thank you for all that you do, Becca. We appreciate it. Thank you for all that you do, because I would not be here making content without you watching it. I would not be at 30,000 subscribers without you subscribing and wanting more content. And one day when I am eligible for retirement, this will be my 9-to-5. It might look different in retirement years. Maybe YouTube isn't a thing, but quilting will be my second career. All of this is helping to build the dream that I have for retirement one day. but that day is not anytime soon. It is 15 years out. Am I 15 years out from retirement, or is it 14? Whatever. It's more than 10, less than 20. I got a ways to go. So thank you, friends, so much for hanging out with me this wonderful Friday night. Don't forget, if you are a channel supporter here on YouTube or a member of the VIP exclusive access program on my website, there is a Zoom on Sunday from 2 to 6. But also don't forget that all of my lovely best YouTube friends, Tiffany and Ian, and all of the others have channels too that they would love for you to check out. Specifically, I just want to give a quick shout out for tomorrow morning. Sean will be live with Brecky with Sean. My mind is blanking because I know there are others doing schedules and I can't even remember what everybody time slots are. But I'll tell you, there's never a shortage of quilting content. And if you've got some extra time to spare, please remember to keep Donna's videos playing in the background to keep the algorithm going strong for her. We'll see you guys all next week or on Sunday if you're going to sew on Zoom with us. I'll see you guys later. Bye, friends.